Zulma Gonzalez. This mic is all yours.
Well, a thankful Thursday to you all. I don't know why, as I'm sitting here thinking, it feels like I wasn't here last Thursday. It seems like it's been forever, which must mean that I had a busy week. Um, a thankful Thursday to each and every only one of us. I am glad to be here. I am in something of an altered state. I don't even know what that means exactly, but I don't know what that means exactly, but I'm going to, but my slides will reflect that today. Um, I decided to just mishmash the slides. We're going to have a mishmash of a talk, um, and I'm looking for a slide I can't find. It'll turn up. Anyway, um, it's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day. Oh, I have to find this photograph. We have one of the members of the Center of Peace, the baby of a baby. She was raised in the um, metaphysical tradition, so she's well aware of the way we think. And her name is Sydney, and her husband's name is Eric, and they brought a beautiful baby girl into the world who they named Emerson, Emersyn, and she's a gorgeous little thing. And I'm going to see if if I can find it. I'll if I can figure it out and get back to um where the picture is. I'll bring her up later, but I just wanted to acknowledge um the beautiful new Emerson Majors who came on the scene at 11:02 p.m. on the 30th. And that's that. All right. So I'm going to put the slideshow on and see what happens. Let's see. How about if I hit the share screen first? I'm all over the place today, and I'm kind. I guess it's kind of intentional. Um, I think it's intentional. We'll see. All right. So of course we are talking about Course in Miracles meets Science of Mind and other metaphysical teachings. We don't leave anything out. We bring everything in because it's all God informed. I want to say good morning to Cher and the Dove and Lynn and Mickey and Paz en cada aliento. Hola. Hola to everyone here. Hello to everyone here. I'm flipping slides around very intentionally. I'm not even sure where things are going to turn up. Let's just see what happens. Oh, Cher, I see you're walking, having a wonderful walk with. Hello, good morning.
It's a walk with my husband. We're in Dallas, Texas, the Katy Trail. So
All right. Hi,
it's
Mr. Cher.
beautiful.
Listen to this. Hi, Mr. Cher. I know that's not his.
Thomas, his name's Thomas. Sorry to disturb you.
I'm
Okay.
sorry. What's his name?
Thomas.
Hi,
Yeah.
Thomas.
It's,
Welcome. No disturbance whatsoever. Wonderful to see you. I'm enjoying the trail with you. Thank you.
we love your
Hilarious.
class.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. I appreciate that. Well, let's see what happens today. Let's see what's happening. Um, so last weekend was our practitioner weekend, as some of you, most of you know, and some of you may not. I am a licensed practitioner in science of mind, formerly called religious science. And I guess they changed it to science of mind because every time somebody said religious science, you had to say, no, I don't mean Christian Science. No, I don't mean Scientology. So now they just call it science of mind. I'm a licensed practitioner as of July of 2017 in science of mind. I am a very proud, and it took me a long time to be able to say that here because I was concerned about, mixing this and mixing that. And now it has turned into that. In fact, Joel Goldsmith, which is one of the classes one of the presentations and classes that is held here on Fridays, 11:30 with Glorian and Lynn, um, uh they talk about it's living actually it's the infinite way with Joel Goldsmith, and Joel Goldsmith was one of the um authors, one of the metaphysicians, one of the teachers that I had to study for my license, Practicing the Presence was the book that I had to read for that. So there's so many different teachers are being brought in, and really at one time I was like, oh, I'm not going to tell them that because, and what do I have to be afraid of? I'm invulnerable. I am invulnerable because I am spirit, and I recognize that that's what I am. And I said all that to say, let's see, slideshow from current slide. Let's do that. These are the practitioners, all of the practitioners at my center. I am pointing the arrow specifically to this one, who is our senior minister. She is Reverend Twana Malone, a wonderful, wonderful person. There I am right there wearing what I had on then. I decided to put it on today just because. And our center has a slew of practitioners, considering that our congregation is under 150, and we have 22 licensed practitioners. Our just recent one was Jane right here, who became part of the fold on Sunday, and we are so happy and so proud to have her on our core. Just wanted to share that proud moment. We do this once a year. We have this practitioner weekend. We have a retreat Friday and Saturday, and then the service on Sunday. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful learning time for us. It's a wonderful learning time for us. And the focus this weekend was on forgiveness and shadow work, presented by a a Jersey girl, she calls herself, Jersey girl, Reverend Dr. Michelle Wadley, who prefers to just be called Michelle. No titles, no badges. That means nothing to her, but she is absolutely phenomenal at what she does. She's the former senior minister at the North Jersey Center for Spiritual Living. Her husband, Neil Pickman, has now taken over that. And anyway, I'm giving you all that. Anybody want any more information about it, feel free to ask me, because a lot of this stuff is online. Okay, so that's that. Reminder that the kingdom of heaven is within you, and whoever shall know himself shall find it. It's an Egyptian proverb. It comes up in the Bible. It comes up reworded in the course, where the course reminds us that the kingdom of heaven is not only is within us, but the kingdom of heaven is us. I'm going to keep on going. I have no idea what this was a slide that was left over from last week. Last week, the theme was living today, and this slide, it just never made it. I happened to find it after we were finished, and I particularly like the quote from the course, so I decided to just include it for today. I said it was a mishmash, so bear with me. Thomas, you're in for a whirlwind today. Yep, that's Mr. Share I'm talking to. Oh, they left. I don't see them. Okay. Anyway, forgiveness is the great release from time. It is the key to learning that the past is over. Madness speaks no more. And this is especially helpful to me today because I found myself regressing to feelings of, oh my God, I wish she were who I want her to be. regarding a person I've talked about before. I won't choose to do a name today, only because I may end up sharing this talk with her. But and if not, oh well. Anyway, I was having my wish world moments. Oh my God, I wish. Oh my God, why? Oh my God. But in the in all of that, I wasn't remembering, oh my God. I wasn't remembering that part. So I found myself having to go in, because I was thinking out thoughts. And of course, the course reminds us that we're never upset for the reason we think. I was upset for things outside of me that really were not outside of me at all. So this is the madness. Oh, I was there to a point where I couldn't talk to the individual. Still not there yet. I'm at best I'm texting. So I'm working through. I am working through and working through. But I know what my goal is. I know what my goal is. The course talks about, means and ends. I know where I am with that. And I do want the end, so I definitely need to work the means. I cannot focus on I cannot even take time to consider that anything outside of me is the cause of what I'm feeling. I am cause. I got that. I got that. Madness shall speak no more. And I trust that the next time I come here, when I'm here next Thursday, I will be able to give you a very constructive and creative update on that. But this was from last week. Anyway, all right, let's see what's next. Let's see what's next. And with that is a reminder that the past is over. It can touch me not. So whatever think I'm upset about has nothing to do with this moment. This moment, what I have is the joy of my family here with me, my family everywhere, and remembering that we're all one source, that it's all one family, and that my decision to make something or someone separate from me is what causes me grief and pain. All right, slides are in no particular order. I did this on purpose. Let us begin each day with a reminder to begin each day with time devoted to the preparation of your mind, to learn what each idea you review that day can offer you in freedom and in peace. This is actually one of the assignments that I've been given with my new therapist. I think I told you all that I decided to work on this Accepting Divine Healing Daily. That's the initial stand for ADHD. Accepting Divine Healing Daily. And decided to get a therapist, and I'm glad I did. It's kind of like an accountability partner who's telling me, just write down what you want to do and then just follow what you wrote down. Isn't that what that's saying, basically? Preparing my mind. Preparing my mind. Notice that the Mind Your Mind slides aren't here first today. They're in here somewhere. And then a reminder too that if you know these things, happy if you do them. It's not enough to just talk about it. It's not enough to just read it. It's not enough to just come here and listen to the wisdom of Dove and others, Lynn and everyone else here. It's not enough to listen to the wisdom that comes through here. That wisdom is coming from the same source. No one is special, or we're all special. Dove brought that up in the last presentation. I'm glad he did, because so will I. Oh, one of them. It is this one. It is the mind that keeps itself stayed on God. It is with the mind that we think spiritual thoughts, not the brain. Now, this whole ADHD thing is coming up to tell me all this brain stuff. But now I'm talking about mind. It is with the mind that we think spiritual thoughts. And Ernest Holmes reminds us that thoughts and things are but two ends of the same proposition. Since it's impossible to stop thinking, we cannot stop creating. We can't stop thinking. No matter how hard we try. We lay down, we go to sleep, and we think. And then we dream. We decide we're going to go into meditation. We meditate. And what happens? The mind starts doing that, get that mind chatter going. The monkey mind, as it's been called, get that monkey mind going. We cannot stop thinking. The Course reminds us that too. We can't stop thinking. It's impossible. Our choice is whether we shall create. Because we can't stop thinking, we can't stop creating. Our choice is whether we shall create constructively or make things destructively. That's always our choice, and decisions are continuous. The mental pattern must always precede the material form. The thought always comes first. First comes the thought, then comes the feeling, the conviction, as the Course reminds us, and then comes the behavior. The mental pattern must always precede the material form. So don't ever think that what you're seeing out there came first and then you thought such and such because of it. Nope, nope, nope. We see what we want to see, which gets us in trouble, gets me in trouble. Seeing what I want to see sometimes gets me in trouble. Have you ever, have you ever looked at those, they have these illusions and you look at it and you see one thing, and then you look at it again and you see something else. There's one, the one that comes to mind right away is the cups. It looks like a cup. If you look at it one way, you see a cup. If you look at it the other way, you see two faces. It really depends on how your mind is working at the time, how your mind, brain. I'm not sure in this case which applies here, but it depends on how we choose to see it. It really is always a choice. And there are some people that no matter what can't see the two people, or the other person, no matter what, they can't see that cup. And really, it's just a series of lines, straight and crooked lines. So it's neither a cup nor is it two people, but they're images of those, and images we know aren't real to begin with. That can keep you going for a while. Just thinking about that, it's enough to keep you going, keep me going. Oh, I love my new brain. I love my new what do they call it? Neurodivergent. My neurodivergent brain, which only means that I think differently. Don't we all? Don't we all? And we all come with our own set of gifts. I appreciate Cher saying that, she appreciates the way I present. I'm not, but and thank you for that. And I remember sending Karen Parente, a Karen, our Karen, my Karen. I call her my Karen. And I call her my Karen. It's that joke with the whole Karen thing, with the whole racial racist thing. I call her my Karen. And I tell people, yeah, well, my Karen, and I say, oh, not that kind of Karen. She's my Karen. I love her. She loves me. We're sisters from another mister, sister from another mister. But when I met Karen on another ACIM platform, another group. And I remember when I first heard her, I'm like, oh, I can listen to this woman day in and day out. I can listen to her forever. I can do that. And uh so I was talking to my baby girl, who I keep calling her my baby girl. Her name is Chardonnay. She lives down the street. I've known her since she was 8. She's 24. She is absolutely she's a daughter to me, and one of my best friends, one of my dearest friends. We talk about things that, well, she talks to me about things that she would never talk about with anyone else. I'm honored. I am honored. I am honored. Because when I said to her, you can talk to me about anything, I meant that with no judgment. Although sometimes I think, oh my God, because I think like a parent. um, but she's great. She's got her head on straight, and she's moving in a direction that's making me thankful to be in her life, because she's not, quote quote, a problem child. I put that in quotation marks because I was a problem child. Nevertheless, so I was talking to her about Karen, and whatever it was I was saying specifically, I happened to get an email from Karen that where Karen was saying the same thing about me to me that I was saying to Chardonnay about Karen. When we talk about the one mind, we can't get past that. We just can't get past that. Anyway, my point is that the way Karen teaches, I can listen to her all day long, without doubt. So we all have. Ralph Waldo Emerson said that we're all attracted to different things, and I could find that it's in his essay Self-Reliance. If you've never heard it or read it, I recommend it. You can go right on YouTube and find it, or you can go online and find a PDF of it. It's lengthy. It's about an hour long. It's written in some of it is archaic language, because it was written in an archaic time. Uh-huh. But I would highly, highly, highly recommend Self-Reliance. And I think I have a quote in here today from that. Anyway, Ralph Waldo Emerson says it's not a random thing that we all are attracted to different things. It's supposed to be that way. So There are some speakers I could listen to endlessly. There's other speakers I could take in small amounts. There are other speakers that just don't. But doesn't apply just to speakers. This applies to anything. There are certain fonts that I don't like to read. That I go to open a book and just the way the font, the way the print is, like, can't do that. And someone else would think, oh my God, they finally put it in this font. It's very intentional that the Creator gave us all individualized expressions, because we are all expressing God in our own unique way. And I think it's absolutely wonderful, because if it wasn't for that, there would be no books to read, there would be no websites to come to, there would be nothing, quote outside of what we already know, which means that I would be spending all my time talking to myself. Oh, I'm always talking to myself. And I have to remember to listen. Sometimes I talk and I don't necessarily listen. I'm always talking to myself. But the idea that I can gain different insights, new insights, that I can learn to see things differently, as one of the workbook lessons teaches, that I can learn to see things differently as a result of the unique expressions. Ernest Holmes calls them the individualized expressions of God. We're all that. We call it being in a body. As a course student, we call it being in a body. Our bodies are different. They look different. My voice is different, just a tad bit different than some other person whose voice is very similar to mine. I talk a little faster or a little slower than someone else. And to some people, oh, that's so great. And to other people, oh my God, she talks so fast. Oh my God, why doesn't she shut up? Whatever. It's okay. But I have to remember that my worth isn't established by any of that. My worth is established by God. Now, I don't know why I brought that up, but considering what's on the screen, the mental pattern must always precede the material form. Oh yeah, the thought always comes first. And of course reminds us with that all thinking produces form at some level. Hey, Karen G. How wonderful to see you. Good morning. Oh, wait a minute. You can't see me because I have my screen up. Wait. I'll take it down just long enough for you to see me waving at you. Wait a minute. Let me do this. Take that down. Stop share. Hi. Great to see
Hey,
you.
girlfriend.
I'm glad to
Good to
see
see
you
you
here.
too. Don't get upset. I have to leave by 10:30, so don't think I'm
That's fine.
leaving
That's
because I
quite
don't
all right.
like
I'm
you.
so glad to see you. This is wonderful. Family, this is my other Karen. I was telling you how to. This is my other Karen. She's another one of my Karens, and falls right into the I love you category. Karen G is also a student of the course. And in fact, we were talking yesterday, and Dove's name came up. I was telling her about what group this was, and she said, "Oh, is this the one with Dove?" Yep. Dove. Karen, you see, share, meet Karen, since you can see each other. There you go. Anyway, so today's topic is random. I'm doing random every now and then. I'll do that, Karen. I'll just throw random stuff up there, and that's what I'm doing today. I'm going random. And I'm going back to share the screen and finish with the slides that I was doing. And the last quote from the Mind Your Mind slide is that all thinking produces form at some level. As we reminded, that every thought we think, we end up seeing something in our minds. And Lord have mercy, sometimes we go like all the way to the moon with some of the thoughts we think. Fortunately, as we were reminded that our worth isn't established by any of that our worth is established by God, and we decide to come back to the remembrance of that, we find ourselves in that place of peace, which is ultimately our goal. All right, let's see what's next. So I found this on the internet this morning. It was on Facebook. And the image grabbed my attention. And this is what it said. A hole ripped through the very fabric of your being. eventually heals along the jagged edges that remain. It may even shrink in size, but that hole will always be there, a piece of you always missing. For where there is deep grief, there was deep love. And you know what I think about when you know, when my mother passed, I'm talking 2008, and still in 2009 and 2010, I would bring up things and the tears would automatically start to come. And I would attempt to apologize. I generally don't apologize for my tears, but I didn't want people, listen to me, wanting this is a control thing. I didn't want people to feel like they had to be sympathetic of my feelings, of my tears. So I would try to apologize for it. And someone said to me, the more your tears are just an expression of love. The more tears you're shedding, you're just showing how much love you had for your mother and still have for my mother. So I don't apologize for my tears anymore. And sometimes in joy and sometimes because I miss her. And in public, I don't care. I still cry. Anyway, so that's what comes to mind for me. For where there is deep grief, there was great love. Don't be ashamed of your grief. Don't judge it. Don't suppress it. Don't rush it. Karen Parente says it all the time. She brings that up. You know, just be gentle with yourself. She always reminds us. Don't suppress it. Rather, acknowledge it, lean into it, listen to it, feel it, sit with it, sit with the pain, and remember the love. This is where the healing will begin. I thought that was phenomenal. And I saw it this morning on Facebook, and I wanted to include it in today's presentation. I already said a mishmash of stuff. Don't know what's going to come up. I don't even know what the next slide is. Here we go. Oh, my quote, wish world is not a real place. And this is kind of what Doug was talking about. What's real and what's not. What's real is what's permanent. Basically, what's real is what's permanent, which is why nothing real can be threatened. What's real cannot be threatened. What is permanent cannot be threatened. I'm going to compare the oak tree to a willow tree, even though they're both temporary in form, but the oak tree is always firm. And there isn't a single willow tree. There's another tree that can come up and bump up against it and it's going to move. It's not going to happen. In the example here, just by way of example, the oak tree is real and anything else that moves along, that comes along with it is temporary. But again, it's in form, of course, it's all temporary. I'm just using it as a way of example. Anyway, from the course, fantasy is a distorted form of vision. Fantasies of any kind are distortions because they always involve twisting perception into unreality. Actions that stem from distortions are literally the reactions of those who know not what they do. Fantasy is an attempt to control reality according to false needs. Twist reality in any way, and you are perceiving destructively. And it causes us pain. We cause ourselves pain with it. We are making up these stories and causing ourselves so much pain. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday about that very thing. Why is it that when we make up stories, we don't make up stories about the stuff that feels good? We don't, or if we do, our attempt is to go into wish world, wishing it was that way. And then we get upset because it's not that way. And we have to ultimately come back to reality anyway. We're in reality attempting to go into a place that isn't real. So anyway it goes, it ends up being a pain spot. We create these pain spots because we're going into places that aren't real. And And it takes work. We're constantly reminded, that we let our mind wander, that we don't guard our thoughts, that we go into the sleep of forgetfulness. We have this unwillingness to remember. We think that we're not worth it. And that's what the habit of engaging with God, we're reminded, the habit of engaging with God, the Course reminds us, is easy. If we actively refuse to let our minds slip away. But no, we don't think we're worth it. The Course says we don't think that we're worth it, and we don't think that anybody else is worth it either. The habit, we're too busy engaging with what we can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. We're too busy worrying about something. We're too busy worrying about something. And worry is based on the future. Worry is based on a period of time that doesn't exist. Or we're in fear of something. Oh, the fear is based on some period of time that no longer exists either. And the Course reminds us that if we're thinking in the future or in the past, we're really not thinking at all, because we're not thinking with God, because God is right here, right now. As the song goes by Eddie Watkins Jr., God is, I am, right here, right now. Right here, right now. God is, I am. Twist reality in any way, the Course continues, and you are perceiving destructively. Fantasies are a means of making false associations and attempting to obtain pleasure from them. Now, some of those fantasies, perhaps the pain, the pleasure that we're trying to obtain is pain. Maybe what we're considering pleasure is guilt. Maybe the pleasure we're seeking is shame. Maybe the pleasure we're seeking is anger. Maybe the pleasure we're seeking is worry. Maybe the pleasure we're seeking is a sense of a lack of self-worth. But all of that isn't real. It came from somewhere in our past. Another period of time doesn't exist, because somewhere along the way, someone taught us to be afraid. Someone taught us to be ashamed. We were told that we weren't this, we weren't that, or we weren't the other. We were compared to something or something, this, that, or the other. Our worth was compared to something else. We were not told that our worth was established by God. We weren't taught that. I wasn't taught that. Well, my grandmother did teach it to me. I just didn't learn it. She taught it to me. I just didn't learn it. Because my grandmother lived as she believed. Phenomenal lady. To the point, I'll tell you a couple minutes, not even that. A forgiveness story. My grandmother was coming from church one Sunday, and some gentleman tried to snatch her pocketbook. She didn't let go. He pushed her, broke her hip and pelvic bone. She didn't know that at the time. He went to run, and she said to him, I forgive you. I forgive you. It's okay. I forgive you. As he was running, my grandmother was giving this gentleman forgiveness. I wrote a poem about that. My favorite poem is called Abuela, which means grandmom in Spanish. And if somebody reminds me about it, I'll do the poem. Anyway, she forgave him on the spot, because my grandmother knew, Abuela knew that carrying that stuff would be like that slide I just showed you about the grief. You're holding on to something. That's what grievances are. Grievances is grief, holding on to something that's really not there. It's already gone. It's already gone. The past is over. It can touch me not. I pulled that up on the slide already. So fantasies are a means of making false associations and attempting to obtain pleasure from them. But although you can perceive false associations, you can never make them real except to yourself. You believe in what you make. Because I have to, the self-fulfilling prophecy. I have to make it so. I have to make it true. I don't want to be made to look stupid. I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to have to take back what I said. Ralph Waldo Emerson says in that essay, Self-Reliance, he says, speak your truth. He says, and if today this is what you believe, speak it with enthusiasm. And if tomorrow you have a change of mind about that, speak it with enthusiasm. He says, all the greats have been misunderstood. We're so worried about being misunderstood. We want to make sure that nobody gets hurt, nobody's feelings are hurt. We want to make sure that, we say the right thing, or we get to the don't give a damn spot where we're like, I don't care what they think. And we take it to the other extreme where we don't care because we're in pain. So then we start putting out pain. Yeah, I don't care what you think. Screw you. I don't care what you think. You're worthless. We have to, well, I have to be sure to keep a balance there to the best of my ability, remembering that it's all God. It's all God. My worth is not established. My worth, your worth, the worth of this computer screen is not established by anything I think. None of that. It's all God. And that makes it perfect. And with that, this next passage from the course, from workbook lesson 91, what you think you are is a belief to be undone. Because I think I'm not this, I'm not good enough. I'm so stupid. Because I had gotten, it's funny that I'm saying this, because I had gotten a phone call yesterday afternoon, late in the day, actually it was yesterday evening. Yesterday evening, I had gotten a phone call from someone who was talking about how she is teaching herself, she's learning how to stop calling herself names. She says that sometimes, that oftentimes she would, make a mistake and she would call herself stupid out loud. Why are you being so stupid? And then, and the question always is, would you say that to somebody else? And maybe you would. Maybe you would, but that's all judgment and something else to be looked at. That's a whole other thing to be looked at. And so there's, hey, McKaylee, good to see you. But what you think you are is a belief to be undone. You are not this body, and nothing that we see, hear, smell, taste, or touch is what we see it as. It's all spirit in form. It's all God. All of it. All of it. And that does not contradict what the Course says about what we see, hear, smell, taste, and touch is not real. It's temporarily here in form. When I hug you, you hug me. That's as real as it's real enough in that moment. Now, the problem comes if I decide to try to hold on to that hug and idolize that hug and excuse me, and worship that hug. Now I've made an idol of a hug because the hug itself came, the hug itself went. And now I would certainly wish I could hug him or her again. Oh, I wish they were here. Back to wish world, not a real place. And me thinking that I'm missing something because they're no longer here to hug me or what have you. What you think you are is a belief to be undone. That's what the atonement comes in. The sole responsibility of the miracle worker, and that we all are. The sole responsibility of the practitioner, the person who practices. I can't, is a belief to be undone. I thought I saw the other Karen, but no. Is a belief to be undone. What you think you are is a belief to be undone. All right, let's see what else we have. Ernest Holmes, from his 365 Signs of Mind. Yes, he has a day-by-day book. He says, there is a real you. Oh, there's postings in the chat. I'll check it out in a minute. There is a real you which lives in a real God, and the two are one. To know this is to understand the secret of life. To realize this is to understand your relationship with the divine presence. To realize that the law of God is written in your own mind is to make available to you a power that can meet every need. So it doesn't come down to, this is missing from my life. The Course reminds us a sense of separation is the only thing we need to correct. Realizing and understanding that God is what we are. The Course says God is not in you in a literal sense. God, you are part of God. God is part of you. It is part of me. I'm it. You're it. We are it. It's part of me. Just like this arm is part of me. This is tangible though. This is come and go. But the essence of what I am is God. The breath of me is God. The life of me is God. As I'm saying me, you can take it on. I mean, you, us, however. I'm not personalizing it because I can't absorb God. One of the declarations of beliefs from Ernest Holmes says that I believe in God, the living spirit, almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. It's not absorbed by its creation. So I can't claim to be the Almighty. You can't claim to be the Almighty. That's the sonship is the all of it. The sonship. And it takes each and every one of all of it. Each and every only one of it to be the all of it. To realize that the law of God is written in your mind is to make available to you a power that can meet every need. Okay, I don't know what's next. Ralph Waldo Emerson from Self-Reliance wrote, the objection, this is what he's talking about, pretending to be something that you're not realizing that, holding on to things that no longer have any value, because things only have value in the moment. They really don't have any value in and of themselves. But holding on to things, the Course says the past is gone, so let it go. The objection, Ralph Waldo Emerson says, to conforming to usages that have become dead to you is that it scatters your force. Once upon a time, I was a nicotine addict. I used to smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day. Now, I could claim to still be a nicotine addict, but I'm just keeping the heck away from nicotine. Every day I make a decision not to use nicotine. Not a conscious decision anymore. There was a time when it was a conscious choice not to. But there was a time when I used to smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day. If I were deciding to hold on to that, dead would be an understatement. The objection to conforming to usages that have become dead to you is that it scatters your force. It loses your time and blurs the impression of your character. If you maintain a dead church, contribute to a dead Bible society, vote with a great party either for the government or against it, spread your table like base housekeepers, under all these screens, I have difficulty to detect the precise person you are. In other words, if I walked around saying, the past is over, it can touch me not. I mean, I may understand, have, and accept the concept. I may understand, know it, live it. But for me to walk around, the past is over, it can touch me not. I'm only quoting A Course in Miracles. But for me to sit down and have a talk with you and say, what used to be isn't now. It's over. It's gone. And it can't touch me. That's me talking. That's Zulma talking. Granted, I'm only paraphrasing what the Course said. But I'm not walking around in this book. I'm not. It's a book. The Course itself says, forget this Course. It's a book. And in the book are words, and words are symbols of symbols. And it just so happens that these words, these symbols, this book is important to me. I have given it value. But I'm not going to worship this book. There are times when I will paraphrase the course. No, but I have to admit too, a lot of times I'll say to people, and according to A Course in Miracles, and in the Course in Miracles, there's a passage that says, I'll say that to people who aren't students of the course. I may say to people who are students of the course, but oftentimes I will just do a paraphrase. I have to do it in the way that it has become real to me. Emerson also says, and I don't know if I grabbed the quote or not, he says, imitation is suicide. Imitation is suicide. I'm not letting myself be who I am. And that's what this is, the point he's making here. Under all these screens, it says here dead church or dead Bible society. And this was written in the 1800s. So it could very well be, sitting in an ACIM group. It could very well be the teachings that my parents gave me or my grandparents gave me or the teachers in school, things of the past that have become dead to me in that regard. Or that I should vote it this way because I registered that way, for example. And that's what that means. Vote with a great party, either for it's under all these screens. Emerson says, I have difficulty to detect the precise person you are. And of course, so much force is withdrawn from your proper life. But do your thing, and I shall know you. Like I said, past is over. It's not, listen, it's gone. It can't touch me. The sanitation department came and grabbed your trash and they took it. And now you're looking in the can as if it's still there. I'm saying my own way of saying the past is over. It can touch me not. Saying the same thing. But do your thing, and I shall know you. That example about the sanitation department, I use it often enough. And you might hear somebody else, you know what, I've heard Zulma say that. And if they say, yeah, well, I decided to, whatever, find your own thing. Find what it means to you. You might not be the one that puts the trash out. It may have no meaning to you whatsoever. Sounds good. It sounds good. Sounds good to me. It works for me because I look at that recycle can. I look at that trash can. I see it empty. And I remember having thrown something away that later I wish I had done. And then took myself through this thing because it was gone. And I really wish wish world is not a real place. I got over it and I can't even tell you right now what that was. Anyway, but do your thing and I shall know you. Do your work and you shall reinforce yourself. One must consider what a blind man's buff is this game of conformity. And then he says, if I know your sect, I anticipate your argument. You gotta be careful. You got to be careful not to get so stuck in anything that one can predict what you're going to say next. That's what made me, this slide is what made me turn the slides that I usually put on the first 3-4 slides, made me turn them around. Let's do this differently. What difference does it make? Am I locked into that? Now, granted, routines are good. That's what I'm learning. Oh, and I'm holding my head as I'm saying that. Routines are good, but some rules, as they say, are made to be broken. So that's what we're doing today. If I know your sect, I anticipate your argument. I already know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to do. I know that. That's not who we are. We are not automatons. We are unique, individualized expressions of God, and God is ever creating. Creation is always happening. God doesn't stop. God is always unchanging in the certainty that God is. But the difference is we get winter, we get spring, we get summer, we get fall. We get a new bar of soap when the old one is finished. We get another tube of toothpaste. We get a different meal. We get a different haircut, different hairstyle. We wash our hair. Just all these different things. These things that change. You don't have to know what I have on today. I may not have on next week. You don't know me by this outfit. Don't that's week before last. I couldn't connect to my internet or my computer, so I couldn't put up any slides. Don't hold me to that. That may or may not happen. If I know your sect, I anticipate your argument. Now there are some things that I'm going to say all the time to myself. Nothing I see. I give everything I see all the meaning it has for me. I have my favorites. I'm never upset for the reason I think I'm upset because I see something that's not there. I'm upset because I'm thinking in the first place. There's some things that I have come to use when I see something looks scary or something to me, the first word out of my mouth is spirit. That's me. That's part of my routine. So you can know that if I walk into something that doesn't feel right, spirit, you can know that about me. You can anticipate that. But I mean, generally speaking, don't be a robot because you're not. Your worth is not established by any of that. Your worth is established by God. All right, let's see what we have here. Oh, I found this. This came from a Attitude magazine. ADDITUDE, ADDITUDE. I found it, and it's come from what is it? ADHD, which I say stands for Accepting Divine Healing Daily. If you point your amazing brain in the direction of something you care about, hyperfocus can win the day. And even though the word brain is used there, that goes back to one of the first slides where it talks about begin each day by preparing your mind for what you're going to do in the day. And in the I believe it's the 30th chapter of the course, section called Rules for Decision, it talks about how to plan your day. How to plan your day. If you point your amazing brain in the direction of something you care about, if I point my mind, if I direct my focus on something that I care about, hyperfocus can win the day. I can be in the habit of engaging with God. I can make that a habit. Hyperfocus, habit, hyperfocus, direct. Nothing to sway me to the left or to the right. I just thought it was a cool quote. And you know me, I'm always looking for how can I make that spiritual? How can I connect that to spirit? How can I connect that to spirit? Okay, brain, mind. In this case, I'm changing the words just for the point. The habit of engaging with God. Hyperfocus can win the day. Engaging with God will win the day. Being in the habit of engaging with God, staying out of the sleep of forgetfulness, remembering to remember, denying the denial of truth. These things can win the day and keep me out of misery. Never upset for the reason I think. I said that. Here it is. Reality is never frightening. Dove brought this up earlier in the presentation before mine. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go back and listen to it. And I caught the tail end of it. So, he was talking about all these catastrophic things that are occurring in the world, catastrophic things that occur in our lives. As long as I continue to look at it as catastrophic, it's going to hurt me more and more and more. There comes a point after I go through my grieving period about whatever's going on that I have to remember that all things are lessons that God, life, spirit, energy, all things are lessons that life would have me learn. All things are lessons that God would have me learn. All things are lessons that God will have me learn, and to accept, to accept all things as they are. The Serenity Prayer reminds us to accept the things I can't change. That brings peace. I have the courage to change the things I can, and the only thing I can't change anything out there. Nothing. I can only change my mind. The Course continually reminds us, change your mind. You can't change, we're not talking about changing behavior, change your mind. Dr. Ernest Holmes says, change your thinking, change your life. The book by Karen Casey that I may end up reading from today, I don't know. Change your mind and your life will follow. Change your mind. Give yourself an opportunity to change that you can change. And then have the wisdom to know the difference. Reality brings only perfect peace, the Course says. When I am upset, it is because I have replaced reality with illusions I made up. I had such a great conversation with someone yesterday, and we were talking about the pain that we were causing ourselves with the story we were giving ourselves based on how we interpreted something. Oh, and you know, and when we talked about it, how the peace that we both came to feel, because when I'm talking to someone else, I'm talking to myself. And when someone else is talking to me, they're talking to themselves. The joy that came from out of that. It's just amazing. The power that we have. We don't recognize our power. We don't recognize that when we take ourselves into illusory states, we cause ourselves so much pain. And when we take ourselves into what's real, we bring ourselves so much joy, and we get to remember the love that we are. We get to remember the love that everything is. It's all God. We can start from that premise. God is the giver of life. The Course says God is life. God is the giver of life. God is all in all. That's in the Bible. That's in the Course. That's in every metaphysical book every other metaphysical book I've read. God is all in all. Start there. Start from principle, and then stay in principle. It's the lighthouse. Stay in principle. You can't go wrong. Regardless of what's happening, we're taught, judge not by appearances, because appearances are going to change. It's always going to change. When I'm upset, it's always because I have replaced reality with illusions I made up. The illusions are upsetting because I have given them reality, and thus regard reality as an illusion. Nothing in God's creation is affected in any way by this confusion of mine. And here's the sentence. I am always upset by nothing. Nothing. There's nothing. Workbook lesson 48. There is nothing to fear. That doesn't, and that means I read that two ways. That there's nothing to it. Fear is nothing. There's nothing to fear. There is nothing to it. Fear is something I'm making up. I am always upset by nothing. All right, let's see what the next slide is. Okay. More of Wish World, not a real place. From the Course, the ego tries to exploit all situations into forms of praise for itself in order to overcome its doubts. It will remain doubtful as long as you believe in its existence. And existence means that it's real. As long as you believe that it's real, you will remain doubtful. It's not real. You who made it cannot trust it because in your right mind, you realize it's not real. And that's the wonderful thing about having people to share with. I made a phone call. Phone calls have been made to me. I've walked into people's arms, just walked into arms crying. Help me through this. I know this isn't right. I know it's not. I just can't seem to. There's a joy in that. I can't trust it because in my right mind, I realize it's not real. But there are those moments when I get stuck. The Course continues, though, the only sane solution is not to try to change reality. which is indeed a fearful attempt, but to accept it as it is. I cannot change reality. Reality is unchanging. Truth it's changeless reality. Ernest Holmes calls it changeless reality. Spirit, he says, is changeless reality. Cannot change. No way, no how. Oh, you know what? I said there were things going on in the chat and I didn't check them. I'm going to check the chat now and see what's happening there. Poison. Yeah. Hi, Gloria. See, I can't see everything on the screen here. Poison. Yeah. Our worth is established by God, not what I think or what anyone thinks. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Michaela, gotcha. And she says the last, yeah, I just saw you saying nice to see you. Thank you, Michaela. And Gloria said the last illusion to go is me. Yes, the last illusion is me thinking that first of all, me thinking that I'm real. Me thinking that I, Zulma, am real. Me thinking that this body is real. Me thinking that your body is real. And when I'm saying real, I mean that it's a permanent thing, that it is what you are. No, it's a communication device. It comes and it goes. And the Course reminds us that nothing survives its purpose. Nothing survives its purpose. So the goal then is to accept reality as it is, not make stories up about it, not try to try to rationalize our way into, but here's why, here's what I think. And the wonderful thing is that when we realize that our thoughts are the cause of our upset, and that we are invulnerable, I then put myself in a position to do something about it. I called a therapist. I made it. Listen, I'm like, I can't. I don't care that Dr. Collins told me back in 1996 that I don't have. I said to him, I think I have ADD. 1996. And here it is almost 30 years later. And I made the mistake of thinking that he knew what he was talking about. There was not enough information out there, and that was not his course of study. And then I had the audacity to get angry with him in my mind. Because the more I learned about ADHD, and I'm like, this is it. This is it. This is it. The angrier I got with him. Like he should have, if only he had him. Well, that's wish world. Again, not a real place. My job is to accept reality as it is and to be grateful for the fact that I am able to do the research. I can, to the point blaming him. I could have been doing the research, 20 some years ago. Didn't do that. So it's not him. If I want to be angry with anybody, it would be with myself, and then forgive myself even for that. From Dr. Ernest Holmes, from his 365, I recognize the indwelling spirit. And it begins with a quote from the Bible: "Be still and know that I am God." A belief in the invisible is the very essence of faith. Prayer, or spiritual communion, demands a complete surrender to the invisible. And anybody who's watching, if you're not looking at the screen, the word invisible has a capital I. It knows that because of the creative power of God, all caps, because the creative power of God is at hand, all things are possible. Somebody sent me her own affirmation of the day. It said, "Today I recognize that all things are possible in love." And God is love. So I thought, oh, I like that. All things are possible in love. When we choose to look at it differently, then things become impossible. We try to make the impossible possible. I'll continue. Whatever our idea of God may be, the perception of reality, capital R reality, is always an inner perception. As Moses tells us, The word is not afar off, but in our own mouths. And Jesus taught that the kingdom of heaven is within us in the Bible. And of course, it's the kingdom of heaven is us. The prayer of power is not so much a petition as it is an inner recognition. And this continues. We cannot doubt that the Spirit has already made the gift of life since we live. We cannot doubt that the Spirit has already made the gift of life since we live, because we are life. It's written in the Course, where it's written that the voice of the Course said that I am the way, the truth, and life. We are the way and the truth and life, because if that voice is always with us, and I believe it is. I know it is. It's it's me. Well, then I have to be what it is. I too am the way, the truth, and the life. You too are the way, the truth, and the life. We cannot doubt that the Spirit has already made the gift of life since we live. And the word life, by the way, here is capitalized, because the Course says God is life. Okay, so if we're going to capitalize the word God, we may as well capitalize the word life too. And for me, I'll capitalize the word spirit, and I'll capitalize the word energy, capitalize all that. I capitalize them all. Divine presence, I capitalize them all. Because for me, they're all just symbols representing the allness of the all, which we choose to call God. Ours is the privilege of acceptance, Dr. Holmes continues. Thus, we are to assume the attitude of a grateful beneficiary of the capital D divine gifts. This should be done simply and directly. The Spirit is not something that was, or that is going to be, or become. In other words, it's all now. It's all now. Ego knows nothing about that. The only aspect of time that has meaning is now. The truth is that which is. What does the Course say? The truth, only the truth is true. Only the truth is true. It exists at the very center of our being. To pray in spirit and in truth. And that's from the Bible. In the Bible, it's written that Jesus said that God is spirit, and they that worship God must worship in spirit and in truth. So that's where this comes from. To pray in spirit and in truth means to recognize this indwelling capital S Spirit, and to declare the truth about its activity through us. And it continues. The affirmation: today, I directly experience the reality of capital S Spirit, allowing it to renew my mind, guide my decisions, and direct my affairs, creation. Everything passes from the invisible to the visible to be temporarily experienced. I rest in peace, assured that my needs are met by this play of life upon itself. And this is from the 365 by Ernest Holmes, one for every day. A Year of Wisdom with Ernest Holmes, 365. This is from, and I used it before, and I don't remember when. It was from Michael Singer, or it was a slide that got left out, never got used. This is from Michael Singer's book, The Untethered Soul. I told you it was going to be a mishmash today. So here we go. To attain true inner freedom, you must be able to objectively watch your problems instead of being lost in them. Workbook lessons 79 and 80 teach us, let me look so I can see what the problem is, and then let me look and realize that there is no problem. And that's a paraphrase, but it means the same thing. Let me realize that there is no problem. How can there be a problem? God has, the universe, God, spirit, life has put everything here that we need. And if I am everything, then everything is, and it's already here, then what am I looking for? What or why am I believing that the solution is not already here? Just because I'm standing on the outside the house doesn't mean that if I don't knock that I can't come inside the house. But if I don't use my key that I can come inside the house. Just because I'm standing outside the house doesn't mean that there is no inside. Seek and you shall find. Ask and you shall receive. Knock and the door will be open to you. That's from the Bible. The answers are always here. So it goes on. To attain true inner wisdom, you must be able to objectively watch your problems instead of being lost in them. No solution can possibly exist while you're lost in the energy of a problem. Everyone knows you can't deal well with a situation if you're getting anxious, scared, or angry about it. The first problem you have to deal with is your own reaction. Hey, Regis. Is your own reaction. You will not be able to solve anything outside until you own how the situation affects you inside. This is key. This is from The Untethered Soul by Michael Singer. When you get clear enough, wait a minute, problems are generally not what they appear to be. When you get clear enough, you will realize that the real problem is that there is something inside of you that can have a problem with almost anything. So that person who's always having these disagreements, that person who always people seem to want to get away from, that person who never seems to be able to get what they say they want, isn't realizing that that they're not realizing that the real problem is that there's something inside of them that can have a problem with almost anything. Huh. 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 The first step is to deal with that part of you. This involves a change from, quote, outer solution consciousness to, quote, inner solution consciousness. You have to break the habit of thinking that the solution to your problems is to rearrange things outside. Let me grab the course because I have a workbook lesson that goes with that. It's workbook lesson, I want to say 70. I want to say 70. And I'll find out if that's the one I mean. Yes. Nope. No. Yes. No. 71. 71. Workbook lesson 71, which is only God's plan for salvation will work. In the second paragraph reads thus. The ego's plan for salvation centers around holding grievances. It maintains that if someone else spoke or acted differently, if some external circumstance or event were changed, you would be saved. Thus, the source of salvation is constantly perceived as outside yourself. Each grievance you hold is a declaration and an assertion in which you believe that says, if this were different, I would be saved. The change of mind necessary for salvation is thus demanded of everyone and everything except yourself. That's from Workbook Lesson 71 in conjunction with what Michael Singer has to say here. And also in Workbook Lesson 70, it says that nothing, in paragraph 2, nothing outside yourself can save you, nothing outside yourself can give you peace, but it also means that nothing outside yourself can hurt you or disturb your peace or upset you in any way. So I'll continue here. The only permanent solution to your problems, Michael Singer says, is to go inside and let go of the part of you that seems to have so many problems with reality. Once you do that, you'll be clear enough to deal with what's left. If we realize that only the truth is true, that reality is real, that wish world is not a real place, we can then come to the place where we realize we have no problems. We're making the whole thing up. We're making the whole thing up and causing ourselves grief with it. Mm, 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 mm. So as I said, this is a mishmash of stuff today. I don't know what the next slide is. Oh, back to accepting divine healing daily. Something else I found. The ADHD brain. I love this. I started to laugh when I read it because you could put my picture there. ADHD brains run at breakneck speeds, fueled by inner dialogues, curiosities, fantasies, ruminations, and doubts. Now, there are some who would say that everybody has ADHD. No. Everyone may experience symptoms of ADHD. Like every person that has anxiety, this doesn't need medication. We all experience anxiety sometimes. Some people have it's what Michelle Wadley calls a tissue issue, where they have exaggerated experiences with anxiety. And for some, they have to take medication. Some don't. But we all experience anxiety in some way. It doesn't mean that we have that we need or require an anxiety diagnosis. There are people with ADHD who experience anxiety, and there are people that experience anxiety that don't have ADHD. But I love this. The ADHD brains run at breakneck speeds, fueled by inner dialogues, curiosities, fantasies, ruminations, and doubt. Slowing down an always racing mind to recalibrate and de-stress often feels like trying to lasso the Tasmanian devil. Now, what made me throw these ADHD quotes in here from wherever it is that I got them was the fact that several of us that come to these rooms have talked about having ADHD. So I'm just acknowledging little things that, to give us a smile or perhaps a something to assist, but that one was for smiling. ADHD, accepting divine healing daily, that the brain runs at breakneck speeds. I read the other day that the ADHD brain is now or not now. Until it, let's learn how to get some structure around that. Now or not now, period. All right. Oh, this is my last slide. This being what is oftentimes one of the first slides. Mind your mind. And here's where I'm reminding us all that to learn how to think is to learn how to live. And everything about this, everything that I've read today, said today, has to do with this course in mind training. Reminder, this is a course in mind training. It's not a course in how to fix anything outside. It's not a course on how to fix anything inside. There's nothing to be fixed. It's all God. God doesn't need to be fixed. But I do need to rearrange the way I think, because I think that the ego is real. I think that there's something that can separate me from the love of God. I think there's something that can separate me from God, period. I think that there's something that's separate, period. My thinking causes the grief, brings the grievances, causes the pain, causes the misunderstandings, causes the indifference, causes the anger. My belief in an ego, my beliefs, period. That's because the course reminds me, I don't know anything, but I don't know what anything is for. The truth is true. I know that. And even though I say I know that, sometimes I forget. I look and see something and I want to make it real, and it's not. But this is a course in mind training. This is why I have this course. This is why I study this and other metaphysical courses. These are courses in mind training, because to learn how to think is to learn how to live. And all learning, all of it, involves attention and study at some level. And that's why the course talks about guarding our thoughts. Guarding our thoughts. Ernest Holmes says a trained thought is far more powerful than untrained. And we know that. And the one who gives conscious power to his thought should be more careful what he thinks than the one who does not. Trained thought. So I'm learning through some of the podcasts I'm listening to now from these experts, these ADHD experts, listening to podcasts, taking note, applying to the best of my ability, because my being, my physical being, is in a habit of doing things in a way that is not constructive, not finishing things. One of the experts was talking about starting from a place of closure. Go finish something that you started before you go start something else. Because the ADHD brain, as I read, it's always going, and it's always looking to start things and not necessarily finish them, unless, as I said, the discipline has come. And I think what I like about poetry more so than trying to write a whole book is that I do this and I'm finished. And then I get to do something else and I'm finished. And I've just thought about Lynn, who comes and she'll record this and then she'll turn it off. And then it'll be somebody else's she'll be recording. And I'm using that by way of example. You do this and then you go to something else. You don't have to stay with one thing all the time. I see a hand. Give me a second, Karen. Give me a second. Oh, you know what? Go ahead. And hi, my love.
Hi, my darling. So yeah, you helped me so much with this because I wrote this down and I keep it close to me. You said that write down your goal and focus only on that goal. And then maybe have one other goal, but just, don't have a bunch of different goals, because that's when the mind's going to go crazy. Because so that helped me so much. So I just wanted to thank you. You shared that. I think that's very, very helpful. That's all.
Thank you. And that's what my therapist told me. This is how I'm learning to deal with ADHD. And as I was saying, we all have symptoms of it. We don't all have the diagnosis of ADHD. We don't all have ADHD. We all have symptoms of it, but we don't all have ADHD. Thank you for that, Karen. I talked about you today, so your ears should have been burning. My last quote, and then I'm going to turn it over. Lovable, get off my back, baby boy. The last quote: you need to learn how to select your thoughts just the same way you select your clothes every day. This is a power you can cultivate. If you want to control things in your life so bad, work on the mind, which is one thing. That's the one thing to focus on. Come here, lovable. Come. That's the only thing you should be trying to control. The only thing you should be trying to control. Now, Karen, I know you came in late, so you don't know that I flipped all these slides around today. And normally this would have been one of the first slides, Not today. Today, that's the last slide. I decided to turn everything around, and I had several subjects going on, and I'm glad I did, because what happens is, Spirit will give me something. I'll get something. Oh, and I'll go find something about that. And then something else. Oh, and I'll write that down too. Oh, and now I have 3 or 4 different things. And sometimes I'm able to grab one and follow a train with it. You've seen that where I've kept something on the same subject. But then there are times when, but this is so good. Oh, this is just what I need. Oh, this is just what I need. So I'm figuring, you know what? I get to do this. We get the mishmash, because we don't spend our day thinking the same thought all day long. We don't do anything the same way, except this little lovely thing who is telling me right now that he obviously has something he wants to do, and he's got energy going that I'm going to have to deal with. And I've already turned off the slide, right? I did turn the slide off. You see me? Okay. Um, um, and so I said, well, you know what? We'll just go with it. I said, as a matter of fact, let's flip the slides around today and let's see where they end up. And all I knew is that this was my last slide. Wherever this ended up, this was going to be the last slide. And if I didn't have enough time, I had planned to read a book. I had already had a plan to get us at least until Karen got here. And since Karen is here, my Karen, this is how I started to talk this morning, talking about you, my Karen. I was talking about my Karen. And Karen G was here for a little bit, just for a little bit. She came and she says, don't get excited, I'm leaving at 10:30. But she came and it was good to see her face this morning. And this has been great. This has been great. One of the women from the Center of Peace, her name is Sheila Denigan. She's a trained singer. She has a beautiful operatic voice. And she changed the lyrics to Ave Maria. Beautiful. Ave Maria. She changed the lyrics to make them our language. She starts out crediting me. She starts out, she said that I was the inspiration for it. People think that I gave it, that I changed the lyrics. I did not. I'm known to do that. So it starts that way. But I'm going to put a link in the chat. And then you also have to scroll. I think it's around like the 26th minute into the service. It's a great service altogether, but I would love, love, love for you to hear Sheila do this. It's just phenomenal. The only words in the chat, the only words in the song that were actually mine is "now is new," and I did a thing in here that "now is new." Other than that, she took it all from the writings, from the metaphysical teachings, and it's absolutely beautiful. I'm going to put a link in the chat. And with that, Lynn, I'm going to turn it over to you. Karen, all yours, my love. Thanks for being here. Thank you, family.
Thank you so much, Zulma Gonzalez. What a wonderful program. I really enjoy your sharing of science of mind and the metaphysical sciences with A Course in